Alright, let's start again. Solving equations with radicals. For example, square root of 5x plus 1 minus 6 equals 0. Isolate the radical by adding 6 to both sides. Get rid of the square root by squaring both sides of this equation. And I get 5x plus 1 equals what? 36. Oh, well, that's pretty easy to solve. Subtract 1 and I get 5x equals 35 and x is 7. Urgent HP update. Fix for install. Okay, ignore that. I do know updates. They just seem to cause problems. There we go. There we go. All right. Square both sides. Okay, we'll see how that works with exponents instead of just the radical sign. So if I've got 2 times x plus 3 to the 3/2 power equals 54, I'm going to isolate the whole radical by isolating the parentheses there. So I will divide by 2 on both sides and get rid of that 2 and just get x plus 3 to the 3/2 power equals 27. Okay. Pardon me? That was the problem. New problem. Sorry. Going kind of fast since we lost a little time. Okay. Now what I need to do is figure out how I can get rid of that exponent 3/2. And when I had a square root, I squared both sides. So I wonder what the opposite of raising something to the 3/2 power would be. Raise it to the 2/3 power. Very nice. Let's see. Yeah, it's the reciprocal. I only have to worry about absolute value if I have a odd denominator in my original problem. Even denominators I don't have to worry about when I do this. So, and I won't belabor that point at all. Don't worry about the absolute values. And the two solutions, we're just going to go for one solution on these. I think you only have one problem or two problems on your homework that could be that way. The only time you really have to worry about the two solutions is when you have the odd powers. So the odd denominators. So I'm just not going to go there. Okay. So 3/2 times 2/3 is 1. So this is x plus 3 to the 1st power. 27 to the 2/3 power, you could put that in your calculator as 27 caret parentheses 2 divided by 3. Or you could think this through. This is the 3rd root of 27. Oh, that's 3 squared. Oh, that's 9. Well, yeah, really. If you had a calculator, why would you even bother? Which gives me x equals 6. No, you would in your calculator, we'll write that in a pretty purple. You would do 27 caret parentheses 2 divided by 3. Don't leave out the parentheses. And you will get the number 9. Yes. Even if it was to a 5th power, you would take it to the 1/5 power. Yes, just use reciprocal. Yeah. Did that work, Nicole? Okay. Yes. No, they're not going to get very complicated today, I promise you. Except you have to do some quadratics, but you know. Well, I never told you were through with quadratics, did I? I should have. Alright, so here we go. We got the square root of 5x minus 1 plus 3 equals x. They're getting a little bit more complicated this time. I still, a little bit more. They're not bad. They're not bad. All right. I still want to isolate the square root, which means I'll subtract 3 from both sides of the equal sign and get the square root of 5x minus 1 equals x minus 3. Don't multiply. You're going to square both sides. And here's where it just gets slightly tricky. The square root of 5x minus 1 squared is indeed 5x minus 1. But x minus 3 squared is x squared minus 6x plus 9, if you remember the pattern. Or you can throw that in the box here. I'm having fun with colors today. X minus 3 times x minus 3. X squared, negative 3x, negative 3x, positive 9. I get that negative 6x in the middle. Okay, now I'm going to solve a quadratic. So I'll subtract 5x from both sides and get negative 11x. My x squared stays. I'll add 1 to both sides and get a plus 10. All of that equal to 0. Now all I got to do, I can factor this one. Nice. X minus 10 times x minus 1. Now when you get two answers, you got to see if both of them will work back in the original equation. So first I'm going to check. Okay, so this gives me x is equal to 10 and x is equal to 1. Let me check the 10 in the square root of, yeah? Two numbers multiplied to give me 10 are negative 10, negative 1, and their sum is negative 11. Yeah, that's all I've done. Okay. Let's go back and check our answer here. So the square root of 5x plus 1. So I'm first going to check x equals 10. Does this one check out? So 5x plus 1, the square root of that, plus 3 needs to be equal to x. So this is 5 times 10, that's 50. That's 5x minus 1, sorry. Oops, my bad. 5x minus 1 was our original equation. So 50 minus 1 is 49. Square root of 49 is 7. 7 plus 3, is that equal to 10? Yeah, that answer is good. The next one may not be. It's not always, but it may not be. Square root of 5 times 1 minus 1 is square root of 4, which is 2, plus 3. Is that equal to x? Is that equal to 1? No. Which means the x equals 1 answer was no good. My only answer is x equals 10. If we end up looking at, we will a little later in this chapter, look at the graphs of these equations and notice they intersect only one time instead of twice. The graphing comes a little bit later. Next week? No, next week of these. We have a little bit of graphing. Okay, one last thing. And this one's going to be easy. Last example is easy. Part of the final is multiple choice and part of the final is free response. Do I know what? It's going to be either 3 or 4 pages of free response, and then the multiple choice, I